I like the student-led conferences, and I thought that it was a good way to do it. And I know I've never done that kind of thing before, where it's an hour long, and I've never really done it for other classes either. And I've never really had this big portfolio. Like in 3rd grade I had a folder, and last year in 4th grade all I had was just piece of folder paper or something. And I think that the kids next year should do the same thing, because it's it kind of is, it's well,
What would you recommend we do differently about it? Is there anything that you would change? If there is, come back, raise your hand again, and I'll come back and talk with you.
maybe you could make sure that everyone was done at least a week before their conference, because if they're not done, then it wouldn't be very easy for their conference, and they couldn't do it. So maybe you should make sure that everyone's done.
Were you well prepared for yours? Yeah. Isabel?
I think that I like doing the rubric. Thought it was a good way to write down our notes. But I would have given more time in class to maybe do it.
To prepare for it?
Yeah, maybe we could have a block, like an hour or 30 minutes on the Chromebooks to do it or something like that.
It's totally doable.
Or we could pair up with people and we could read it over and say well, maybe I'd change this to make it a little bit more clear.
Yeah, that's good. Would you have the kids next year do it?
Yes, I would.
What?
I think that you should, well, with when you had to download
The form.
yeah, the form, I think that you should kind of make it a little easier so that everyone gets one, because it's kind of confusing when you can't highlight it. So, yeah.
Sure, I get it. Did you find it valuable?
I did, because I thought it was much better than just sharing your portfolio like I've done the past 5 years. And I think it's better to just talk about everything instead of showing your portfolio out, or just showing little pieces of activities that you did. So I think that was fun to do.
Yeah, I like the fact that you talk about your life. That's what I like about it. I mean, you can talk about your whole life, how you're changing, and the things you enjoy doing.
I think it was really, it just proves different from all the other conferences that I've taken in the past, because, well, first of all, we have refreshments, and second of all, instead of just going through the entire portfolio, like Audrey said, you sort of show your parents your planner, and it only shows the main details, and then you can go into your portfolio to support that. Because if you're just showing them the work from the portfolio, what does that even mean? And also, I think what would help the students more who weren't as organized, maybe you could have a table by the front door with and you could ask the kids for their portfolios and planners and lay them out on top of each other. So the kids could, as soon as they walk in, they could grab it and get going instead of having to, find it.
Part of me thinks that you're old enough now that it changes, that in years past it might be that way, but now I'm wondering whether really for next year would you feel that we should have them all available at the front door, or the kids take responsibility for them? What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's up to the teacher, because both ways work, and both kids can do both ways. So it's just.
Would you have the kids next year do it the same way, or what would you change about it?
I think next year. I'm not really sure, because this year's conference was one of my favorite ones so far.
If you do have ideas, share it with me before the end of the school year.
I
really enjoyed like the format of how the student-led conference this year worked. Like Aiden said, the refreshments and food was
Helpful.
good, yes, and that we had an hour to talk to our parents about it. Not like last year, we had like 15 minutes or so to like talk to our parents about what we did this year. And I also liked when we had when we had the planner to sort of not really to sort of like look at it, and so that you're not making up things like there on the spot,
Right.
but you have something to refer to. And also it was sort of fun to talk to your parents about like how you're changing and what you want to be when you grow up, and like what are your how do you think you're smart. And it was fun to see what your parents had to add to that, like if
Cool.
yeah.
Did you find the fact that they were going to give you a score, what did that do for you? Did it make any difference? If they didn't do that, would the conference have been different?
I don't know. Maybe if there wasn't a rubric after, then maybe I wouldn't have maybe asked for their opinion enough.
Huh. What about you, Aiden? Because there was a rubric that your parents were doing, did it make a difference for you?
Yeah, I think it's fun to have a rubric that your parents are doing, and it proves more helpful also because, like, you get to see only a little part of our conference, and you know our work from the past year, but also we may perform differently in the conference, and only our parents were the ones with us that whole time. And if they can figure out the rubric, which most of them did probably, I think it would be a better idea than you grading it or ourselves grading it.
And you know that grade doesn't go into it's not
Yeah.
in Power School, it's unrelated. Shields, what do you think?
I really enjoyed this conference because like we had free time, like we could take as much time between, like an hour was max, but like it gave us a lot more time to share what we wanted to share and not just go through our portfolios in 10 minutes like we did last year. That's what we did for student-led conferences last year, and I think that this was a helpful way because you could also incorporate it into your life outside of school. And the planner really was pretty helpful because you could put all of your information you wanted to share in there, and yeah.
Because we could put whatever we wanted to in it. And when we did our student-led conference, we were allowed to just show whatever we wanted in the portfolio instead of showing every single one. And I like the rubric because the parents had the best perspective of us since they were the ones who were watching us.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe in your family you always talk to your mom and dad about serious things in a serious way. But for lots of families, this is the one time you can sit down and say, so how's the school year going, and what have you accomplished this year? Angelina, what do you think?
For our conference, we didn't have to just talk about what we do in school, but we can talk about stuff we did outside of school and how it can connect to like the learner profile. And it was more exciting this year because last year we were just like, oh, this is our story we made, and we weren't that specific. But this year we were just like talking about the whole entire year, and like we're not just sitting there going through our portfolio, and it would lose our parents' attention. So.
Do you think that the kids next year should do the same thing? How would you change it? Or would you change it?
I don't really have anything to change about this conference because it's been the funnest out of all the other ones I did.
Uh-oh.
One of the only things that I might change for next year would be to definitely, like some people said, have more time to work on it in class because you didn't get that much time and it was just for homework every night. Like that too, and maybe it should be kind of encouraged even more to do it with your parents along the way, because it can definitely save time and it can benefit in many ways. But just have more time in class and be encouraged to do it with your parents too, and have them involved with putting things down in it and thinking about it. I think it was pretty good. Otherwise, I liked it.
How many of you did it with your parents? I mean, actually, they were actively involved when you were putting things in, as opposed to you're doing it, then they come in. I don't know. We do it because I think it's important. And so you could do your conference even before you come in. If you spent the entire time building it with your parents, it's like it's kind of done, isn't it? Seth, what do you think?
So, I think it was, I like the amount of time, and it's different because there's multiple kids in the room, and sometimes, like, last year, the teacher would sit down with us and, like, listen and, like, ask questions and stuff, but you only sat down in, like, one part, and then, like, the rest of the time you're just, like, wandering around the room handing out cookies and juice.
5 or 6 sheets of paper, and then we'd have to, it's like, are you caring, compassionate, and then we'd have to state with detailed examples, and then we'd ask questions like, do you enjoy writing, and then you'd have to, there'd be a little, 5 boxes, and you'd have to check off if it was a 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5 in PYP grade scale. And then we'd have to, if we would say, yes, I enjoy reading, then you would have to write, you'd have to explain with examples why you enjoyed it.
But you have to admit, when you first saw that form, y'all went, are you kidding me? Like,
Well,
it was 12 pages long or something.
Yeah, I mean, my next question is about handout forms, and everyone goes, and immediately the deflate, everyone is deflated, and you use the word reflection, and all the kids go, oh God, not again. So you've got all this stuff written down. No parent wants to hear you read what you've written. How did you engage with them? How did you present?
What I did was I showed it to my mom and dad, and then first we would we took a sheet of paper, and each category we'd write down like one word, and then we'd try and put it into sentences.
I see. Okay,
So they did it
you'd
together.
have a cue card,
Yeah.
and you could then.
Yeah.
Can you add to that?
She helped me with it, and like I wrote it all down like Isabella said, but like some of it was like it didn't really make sense the way I said it, and she kind of helped me make it more sense.
Cool.
And then during the conference, it was different from last year, because last year I just flipped through my what's it called? Portfolio, thank you. Talking about it, but this year I could talk about myself and how I've changed at home and.
Okay, so it's about learning in general, not about your class.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've got a pretty good idea. Can I ask you guys this? I'm going to expect you guys to come in there